You're watching HCAM TV.
Hello, Hopkinton. It's Wednesday, which means it's HCAM night. And we're really happy that you're able to join us here because we are live for the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. Tonight, we're doing a show that we do once in a while, here and there, which is we're having the HCAM crew on, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite moments that we've had over the course of this series and show you a couple clips of things that we like and talk about what's happening. And I'd like you to do two things, if you don't mind. Number one, sit back and enjoy this little trip down the past few months, and also think about what you might like to see here on the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, whether it be a guest, somebody's doing something cool in our community that we should be talking about and spreading, or if it might be something that you have to share with us. You could do anything. You can come on our show. We're very nice, and we'll chat with you about most anything. You could even volunteer to host an hour if you would like to be a big-time host and bring on your own topics and your own subjects. This is your TV station, and we thank you very much for participating by viewing what we do, and we invite you to also take part as you wish. Now, tonight, we have the cast and crew of the show. We have Bob Hamilton, we have Mike Tarosian, and we have Matt Clark joining me tonight to be sharing what they have been seeing and enjoying about the series. Our news producer, Tom Nappy, is actually out editing for his newscast, which will be live tomorrow night. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Good.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good. Glad to hear that. So, it was really interesting for me to see. Actually, I went back and I watched the first episode. That's not one of my favorite clips, but it's really interesting to see the difference between my technology on the first show all the way down to my technology on this show. It is a stark difference, shall I say.
You are absolutely right, Jim, because let me tell
We
you
definitely
something.
refined the process.
Yeah, it was so hard to even learn how to spell the word Zoom. It learned how all the features worked and everything. It gave the bugs out. It was awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
And don't forget, when we first started, we were going to try Google Meet. Instead, we got away from that and went to Zoom instead. And that was because everybody else was on it. And that worked out well.
Yes, it really did. I've honestly been quite surprised that Zoom is so much better than Google Meet. If nothing else, the green screen effect on Google Meet is terrible. And look at the green. Mike right now is green screening, and it looks great.
Yeah, this is a green screen. And if you don't have a green screen, Zoom works with that too, which is pretty good. They do a great job.
Yeah. I find they usually cut like half of my head off, but it's better than nothing. All right, I'm going to introduce the first clip of the first show that I picked as one of my favorites. And this, interestingly enough, or not, if you don't think, is our 8th episode, which aired on April the 8th of this year, which I don't think any of us noticed that, but it's a double 8 right there. And this was a show where I was interviewing Meena Bhararath, who at that time was the chairperson of the Hopkinton School Committee. So I got a little clip that I'm going to share with you, and after that, we can chat about why I picked that. Here we go.
My question is, Meena, why did you want to be on the school committee? What's your passion?
So I may have mentioned this to you at some point when we initially met, Jim. There was a turning point in my life. I was chasing wealth and success in my life, and my father passed away 4 years ago now. And when he passed away, it was a moment for me to think about life and what is it that I love and pursuing my passion. And what I have been most passionate about is education. And the reason why it's education is I feel like if we do it right, if we do a good job of education and giving the right values and creating a nurturing environment for our young people, I think the future would be beautiful. And I have come to understand that the majority of our students choose the public education system. And this is the place to make it right. And
Okay. So just to put you guys on the spot, because we haven't talked about this, does anybody know why I picked that clip?
I have a guess.
Please go ahead. There's no wrong answers here, Mike.
Oh, I guess my guess is you are filling out the person's passions for being involved in community.
Okay, you're wrong. Nah, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to say that after I said there are no wrong answers. You're exactly right. You know, we're here because this is our passion. And I love when people come and share their passion and talk about the reasons why they do what they do. I often think about, I can't remember who said it, but there's a famous quote and it says, oh, you don't have enough time in the day. You wish there were more hours. You know what? You have exactly the same number of hours that Thomas Edison had, or you had exactly the same number of hours that Abraham Lincoln had. So if you're not doing something, it's because for some reason or on some level, you're choosing something else instead of that. And I've always thought that was a really interesting philosophy, and it makes me continually question what I'm doing. Is that what I want to be spending the finite amount of time that I have on doing? And people like Mina, who are, I think, very, very energetic in their community and very high profile and very out there and doing things, are so fascinating to get their motivations and see why they actually do what they do. So I love that on the interviews that we do, we're not talking to superstars of, you know, stage and screen. And we're not talking to athletes who are winning the World Series. We're talking to people in our community who are really the movers and the doers and making things happen on every level. And so that's why I really like that clip.
Well, Jim, I am with you on that. You know, myself, when we first met, when we first started HCAM way back in the day, seems like so long ago. How many years has it been now?
16 years.
16 years. And one thing you always said to me, Mike, I did not hire you because you know how to make TV shows. You hired me because of my passion to work with volunteers and bring the community together. And what you showed there with that clip is exactly it. You brought out a person that had a passion to be part of a community and to make the community better, you know, through their passion. No personal gain. She wasn't out there for the thrill, oh, I'm on the school board, you know, whatever. It was nothing like that. It was all about the passion. And that's what we try to do.
Exactly. By the way, if you're watching the show and you know somebody who's passionate about what they do for our community, put their name in the chat and we will check it out. All right. So, Mike, since you've been talking, how about you cue up one of your favorites?
I do have one of mine, and it's one of our early shows too. Not the greatest production value, but it's one of our earliest shows. We thought about with COVID coming, now this was back in April 23rd, that we had Annette Kaminsky on. She's a personal trainer, works out of a gym, and does, you know, training for health and fitness. And everything was closed. It's like, how do you still stay healthy? Here we are at home, sitting at our computers. You know, how do you stay fit? And so she was one of these people, one of these professionals that had to change the way she operated her business because she couldn't come to your home. You couldn't meet her at the gym. There was nothing. So she just explained a little bit and showed us a couple of things that she could do while you're at home. So I'm just going to share this with you.
Here, I can help you. I can help you. I can go online. Do you want me to show you a couple things now? Do we have enough time or not now?
You got 6 minutes. What do you think?
Okay. Let me show you some quick things. Can you guys see me because I don't have you on my screen anymore?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Okay. So some basic things you can do is a squat. A squat is a great thing for your lower body. You want to remember when you're squatting, you want to keep your knees behind your toes. So what you want to do, you can do it off a chair for beginners. You can do these. You put your hands on your waist. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you can. If you're a beginner, get a couple cans. If you don't have weights, grab some cans. You can hold the cans and you can sit and do them like this.
So those are the things that I loved, because here she is. Yeah, you don't have weights? Grab a couple cans. Grab something. And she was able to teach people how at home you can still stay fit because you're not going to the gym, you're not having your trainer at your house. And modified her business, and we learned from a lot of people how they modified their businesses. And this is what the Hangout Hour was all about. And this is why I chose the Hangout Hour as one of my favorite shows.
I think it's great because it shows, that's her job, but her job is helping people to be healthy, to be strong, to be in shape. It's one of those persons who just cares about other people, and you could just tell by her personality. She's so excited, and she just loves being involved with that. That was a very fun episode.
Well, it was fun because it gave us some ideas of things to do at home when I'm sitting here in my room, while I'm editing. She taught me some exercises that I could do while I'm editing, which was awesome, just to keep it moving, because it was terrible being at home in the beginning. Nobody knew what to do. And for her to go out online, here's a professional gets paid for this advice, whether you're at the gym or she's training you at your house. She was putting this stuff out online for free because she knows people needed to move, people needed to work out and stay fit.
Yeah. How's that program going, Mike?
Well, I found out I am in shape only because round is a shape.
I have a theory. I had a theory that if I had enough exercise equipment in my basement, I would get in shape, but it didn't work.
Well,
I never have to worry about being out of shape because you have to be in shape at some point to be out of shape. So.
Well, I tell you, the only thing about my exercise equipment, it holds the laundry really well.
Yeah, that's an expensive laundry rack. All right, Matt, what did you pick?
Well, for my first one, this wasn't like a significant moment, but I found it when I was going through. It's from our fifth show, so it's very early. I just thought it was significant, and I'll just show it and I'll explain it after. So, like I said, this is from our fifth show from March 31st, so early on in the quarantine. Let's see.
Till May 4th, so there certainly will be some more state legislature coming out in the coming days as we are in the midst of the coronavirus battle. We certainly hope everybody stays safe out there, stays healthy, and stay home. But you can certainly go outside.
May 4th. Wow.
Yep, May 4th. I mean, the cases keep picking up, so
as expected. I picked that one because I found my reaction humorous to Tom saying May 4th, because this was obviously on March 31st. Now we're on November 4th, and to be thinking back, 7 months to, wow, we have to do this until May, and now we're 6 months past that point. It just shows you how far we've come, and maybe in some cases how far we still have to go. It's still not sure, but I think it's mostly like, yeah, how far we've come, and it's like, we've all learned a lot about, this situation, because this is something that no one alive has ever really experienced.
Right.
You know,
What?
Matt, I got to say, that's really deep. That's really deep. And I really like that. I've been telling people I know that this is really hard. This is a pandemic. We have to isolate. It's really hard. And it's not World War II. We're not rationing our food. We're not doing all kind of scrap drives. This isn't going to be 4 years of devastation. It's been tragic and horrible, but we're doing it. And it's really interesting to take a look back and see that perspective. I remember when we started, I mourned the loss of our studio, the loss of being able to go out and eat and meet friends and hang out. I mourned that. And when I first started doing things over Zoom, I was terribly depressed about it. Because every time I would do it, it would only remind me of what we've lost. However, over the past few months, I've realized that you get used to it, and I'm used to it now. And there are benefits, and there are good things to it. So it's really good to take stock of what we have that is still good and that still works. Mike, I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
I just want to say there was 2 weeks into the pandemic, because we shut down on March 17th, and there was the 31st. And now we're talking about, wow, we got to do this for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're all there like, oh my God, what do we do for 5 weeks? And here we are into November, and we're back at, and here we are again, isolating at home. Now the new orders that came out were 10 p.m. You have to be home. So they're back to almost what it was like back then. And so much have changed, but to think about, wow, we have to be in for 5 weeks. What do we do?
I remember when the school was closed, it was for 2 weeks. That's what they said. And that was the end of the school year.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I do have to say, the only thing that helped me through this whole thing was having a new friend and having my girl, Kaya.
Yeah.
It was like I got her at the start of this on April 1st when I adopted Kaya. And let me tell you something, as a single person living alone, I don't know how I would have made it without her. And as you all know, it's so hard to work at home. There are many distractions that happen. And I tell you, this is one of the best distractions that ever did happen. And it really made the isolation possible. And, Jim, and you got that beautiful, you gotta have a picture of Percy available. Because and this is a dog that I miss, because I used to get to have all this playtime at the studio with when you brought him in.
Yes, I know.
Don't have one handy. See, we didn't plan this, guys, so I just threw that up because
I'm never far from a photo of my dog.
There you go. Oh my goodness.
Percy just loves to just be near you. He's just adorable.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of Percy pics.
Oh yeah.
Here he was going for a ride with me.
Oh,
And,
what's he do?
Oh, look! Check this out. His little. We call him his twinkle
There he
toes.
is walking on a lake.
Yeah, exact. Look at that.
That parking lot looks familiar to me.
Oh, I know. So yeah, I'll tell you know what we should do a show on pets someday, because they're just so great.
Well, you know what? We've done the animals, we've done all the nature photos. Yes, we should do a whole show on our domesticated pets.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
All right, Mike, that was awesome. All right, we're going to move on to my next one. And in order for me to tell you, I have to look at my notes, because I don't remember which one this is. Okay, this was April 20th, and this was an episode with Emily Karp and her family, who have been making masks. And without further ado, we're just going to play it and then we can chat about it. Here we go.
Me about a very, very amazing project that you have started. And so with no further ado, you are making masks.
Yes.
So what I'm interested in, I'd like to hear the story about that, where the idea came from, how it came together, and then what you're actually doing.
You want to start, and then I can.
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of a group effort, but we saw that there was a need a few weeks ago when things started to ramp up. It seemed like face coverings were becoming a heavy, hot topic. So we reached out. I reached out to a couple of the Hopkinton like free sites and asked for some sewing machine donations because we didn't own a sewing machine.
Wait a minute, you didn't own a sewing machine?
No. We didn't own a sewing
That's pretty amazing. Go ahead.
We didn't know how to sew.
No, we didn't know how
We
to
didn't know how to
sew
sew either. And I asked Emily, I said, hey, if I get 2 machines, would you be interested? And Emily, I'm going to let her take it from there.
Yeah.
Emily just really got very excited about the project and really kind of.
All right. So that's that. I remember that moment so much because we had the carps on and, they're making dozens of masks. And for them to just say, oh, I saw there was this need. We don't know how to sew. We don't have a sewing machine, but we're going to do this. And they got 2 sewing machines. They taught themselves how to sew and they made fantastic masks.
That's what made that whole segment so great, was the fact that here we are highlighting these people, this family that are making masks for people who need them, to come to find out that they didn't have a sewing machine, didn't know how to sew, didn't know what they were doing. They said, oh, let's just do this. And boom, they jumped right in.
Yes, it's when, and the whole family was involved. And we've had a few episodes where people in our community are just making masks and making them available or giving them away or bringing them down to the fire station. These stories are my favorite. I love these stories. This is Hopkinton helping Hopkinton. What do you need? How do we do it? And we just get it done.
Right.
So I'm sure that's probably something new for you and your family, right, Matt?
Oh yeah. No, my family never helped people until like just recently.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not.
Right.
Wow.
So I want to give a little space to Bob here, because Bob, I was wondering if you have any special memories of something over the course of this series.
Yeah, as you started off with the premise of this program, we're going to show clips. I'm not that technical savvy to pull up all the clips, but one of the things I did want to point out, or several things. One is that I know that we have had over 140 guests throughout the HCAM Hangout hours that we've put on since then. And one of the ones that I remember the most is Carol Kavanaugh, when she came in to talk about the school reopening and the amount of impact that we received from the town with their responses, with their questions. And then that precipitated the weekly showing of Carol coming on to talk. And that really had a large effect on the community. And I think it highlighted what HCAM can provide to the community. And even though we're talking mainly about Hangout hours, don't forget that because of Zoom, we did all the government meetings as well. We did the select board, we did the zoning, we did the planning board, Concom, and all those things are continuing to go on. So I agree that there have been a lot of good things on Hangout hours and clips that show what a good job HCAM is doing to communicate with the community. But I really think that overall, this was one of the biggest pushes we had into the town to get people involved in the whole organization.
Yes, I agree. Carol, Dr. Kavanaugh coming on our show weekly, hundreds of questions from the community tens of thousands of views of people watching, because at that time, nobody knew what the new school year was going to look like. Could we even start? Was it going to be full remote? How would it possibly work? What are they going to do? And it was just tremendous to be able to be a part of that. And you know, she is doing a great job, and she really appreciates us. It's very, very rewarding. She's a person who has a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and for us to be able to be a conduit in such a way that our community was asking questions live and getting their answers was really, really rewarding for me. I also especially was so happy that during this time when everything was shutting down, we didn't really miss a beat. We switched right over to Zoom, and we kept the community connected to the government entities that are, you know, running the town for us. It's been, it's really been exactly what we do. So I think that that's been really rewarding.
You know, it's so cool to be part of the fact that all the boards, all the committees, all of Hopkinton Town government wants to be as transparent as possible, reached out to us to help do that for them, and to be able to put them out onto YouTube and onto our channels while they are in their isolation and through Zoom. That was a huge thing, and that, you know, it changed the way that we thought about television as well, because it's like, is this going to be the new norm now that we go to all these meetings and get them out no matter what the case is?
Right. That was the first question we asked ourselves. How do we make TV shows without a TV studio? And it's very different, but there are benefits, and there are lessons that we've learned that we will continue even when we're able to welcome the community back into our studio.
Well, Jim, if I may, one of the opportunities that I got in doing the Hangout hour from home was great. Okay, but we're home. But to get outside with the community and how do we get involved? One of the best things that happened to me was to be able to help the veterans. And coming into May, the veterans reached out to us and wanted to know how we could help them with their Memorial Day celebrations. Memorial Day celebrations always took place live, visiting the cemeteries down in Woodville, the Evergreen, St. John's, Mount Auburn, and then up to the Common. It was a live event. And we always covered that. But we were like always on the outside, because like when we cover events, we don't want to be like up in front and center blocking people's views. So we cover it the best way we can. Well, the veterans thought this year Memorial Day wasn't going to happen. And Mike Whalen and the veterans reached out to us, and we put together a virtual Memorial Day service, which aired on Memorial Day, which was great for us because they kept the numbers down because we weren't allowed to gather as a group. But this time, I was able to direct the action and put together a program that was up front and center for every portion. And we also had rolling statements from select board chairperson, state representative, and other select and so forth. It was really good. So we were able to put together a program. And I just want to show you this one little clip. I'll show you, share a little bit of it right here.
And salute. And 2. Then on. And salute. 3-round volley for our forward. And salute. Present chorus.
Now I'm gonna stop it there because when I hear taps, I do get emotional. So I want to stop right there. But one of the things that was nice about doing a program like this, when we are there for the event, we are like in one spot. And as you can see, everyone was like spread around. I was able to direct and place the people in the place and show a full program and get everybody up close and let everyone see it like they were there. And that was like one of the most fun things, especially here we are in May and being 2 months into it, down to get out of the house and film something. It was great. And this was a beautiful piece and it meant a lot to me.
It means a lot to me too. I really enjoy talking to veterans, whether they're older guys and women who have been in combat or whether they've just been through the service. I have a lot of respect for that. And I think that they have a perspective on our country and our flag and what we stand for that is extremely valuable. You know, I've never been in a war, never been in combat, neither have my kids. And there are lessons to be learned from those who have sacrificed and given of their time and their life to help protect and preserve this country. I have the utmost respect for that, and I really love to learn from them.
And
all right,
and, and just to add to it, it's like my love for the veterans for what they did, and people like and we got Bob Hamilton right here. He's a veteran.
Yep.
Who, you know, these are the people that I want to honor. I look up to because of what they did for us. Thank
Exactly.
you for this.
Exactly. All right. Now, that wasn't one of your clips, was it, Mike?
What's that?
The clip you just played, was that one of the ones you selected for tonight?
Yes, that was one of them.
Okay. So I think we're on to Matt again. Matt, tell us what you got next.
Well, mine's a little bit different. This is I've been calling it in my head one of Matt's greatest blunders. But luckily, it's more of just a case of over enthusiasm than anything else. This is from one of our wildlife photo shows where we were talking with your son Andrew, Jim, and we were also showing community pictures. And it was the end of the episode, and I was showing some great clips or photos from John Ritz that I just felt I needed to get to, but we were quickly running out of time. Done. Rabbit, chipmunk, pileated woodpecker, really good.
Oh, nice.
Here's a fisher cat. You can see it there.
Oh yeah, those are hard to find.
Yep.
They're sneaky.
A great picture of two Cooper's hawks battling on the streets.
Wow.
I wish we could stay on this one more.
Yeah.
Here's a mouse, another pileated woodpecker, a hummingbird moth, which you can see why it's called that because of the a couple deer, a quail, which I've never seen around here before.
Fascinating. Wow.
Yeah. A goldfinch, a Carolina wren, a red fox, some more turkeys, the same turkeys, and a timber rattlesnake.
Oh wow.
And I need to get to that one.
You took up all our time. Hey, thank you so much.
That was definitely a case of me. Like it was the rattlesnake picture that made me do it because I had never seen one of those around here. And I was like, people need to see this. This is so cool. So I just needed to get through all of them, and I definitely ran over time. And I spent weeks after that agonizing at how embarrassing that was for me.
I think it was not bad at all. I think that it is really hard to land a show on time. It's really hard. And if you don't think it's hard, then I suggest you come in and you host a show with Sean McAuliffe. That man has a lot to say. And it's really hard. It's really hard because you may be 3 minutes before the end and you think everything, you got plenty of time. Then you ask one more question and then you're going over. And it was the same thing. You know, that conversation was so interesting. We just got wrapped up in it and forgot that there were so many pictures yet to get to. And the snake was pretty awesome. So, not embarrassing, but definitely funny.
Well, what's funny about that too, and I figured everybody, because two of my favorite shows was the wildlife photography shows that we had with Andrew, you, Matt, John, and everybody. And I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to pick that because I bet everybody else is going to pick a show like that and pick one of those shows. And it's like, no, I'm going to leave it off. Somebody else is going to do it. But they were so good. Oh my goodness, so much wildlife around just in this little town. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
People don't
And
know
remember,
how
we
much
actually we got people sending in pictures of what they were taking too. I love that. What were you saying, Matt?
No, just people don't know how many species actually live around here. Like maybe they see deer, they probably see plenty of bird and squirrels and rabbits, but you know, there's so much more that's just much less common, and it's amazing.
Right. I know. In fact, oops, let me just click over to this. Since I am constantly surprised and amazed at just the variety in this area that we are in, you know, just the abundance too. And so let me just show you my latest wildlife picture. So this is my backyard. And you see them? There we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, you know what the first comment I got from that when I showed my family, my daughter goes, "And you didn't call me, Dad? You didn't call me. You didn't call and tell me that it was out there." I don't know. For me, whenever I see a deer, it's always on its way out. It's only there for like 30 seconds and then it's gone. I don't even know why they come around. They spend so little time with us.
That's always my first response if like my parents see something like, you didn't tell me?
Exactly. Well, you know what? I made a mistake one time. My son, we had seen a fox in our backyard. And then about 10 minutes later, I said, "Oh, there it is." And he came running, and I was just kidding him. And he was so crushed. I actually learned to never do that again. That was just actually too sad, not funny. So I don't do that.
I've had the same thing happen to me.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to move on to my next clip. Get it queued up here. And this is a show that aired on June 4th. And they had two Girl Scouts who were on the show and talking about some projects that they had done. So we're going to watch a couple minutes of this.
So I thought that was really cool because had you ever made a website before?
No, I have not.
All right. Oh, and there we go. And Tom is actually showing the website now. We're in June, so we're in our preview phase and moving things around and making sure that things work, which they are, which is nice to hear. So, but making the website is kind of like half of the project. And what's next are you going to do?
So yeah, now I think we're at the point where we're just trying to get the word out to both nonprofits and volunteers. So we want nonprofits to sign up for accounts so that they can maybe think about posting something. Obviously now we're in a pandemic, so people are a little more hesitant to go out. But and then we're going to be reaching out to volunteers and so they know what's going on with the website as well.
That's great. And actually, Juliana, that reminds me, coming back to you, you had talked about making a video. And can you talk a little bit about when you wrap this up, half of your project is just like Megan's, making the concept and making the information. And what are your thoughts, Juliana, about how you're going to push that out into your community?
Yeah, so at the beginning of my project, I spoke with the high school, Mr. Palmenville, who is my vice principal, and we kind of brainstormed ideas to try and get it out to the students of Hopkinton High School. And what I'm thinking is either establishing part of it into the AP government curriculum or maybe a guidance class curriculum. I mean,
okay, so the reason I picked that just was because I was just very impressed by the projects that they did. You know, Megan, she didn't know how to make a website. She learned WordPress and she crafted this website, and it's going to have an impact on our community. And Juliana made this video. She worked for hours collecting the photographs and the video clips and getting Connor Deegan, our clerk, to narrate it and editing it together into like about a 10-minute thing. And it's a really great video that is shown to the high school students about the importance of voting and taking part in our democracy. And that they just both really impressive. We've had a couple of shows with scouts on, with scout leaders and scout members. And I just think that they are very cool in what they do and very, very community oriented. So I applaud everything that they do. So that was one of my favorite clips.
Yeah, the scouts are fantastic, and I love working with them from the young age. Do little promotions for like Scouting for Food that we just did, and which is going on again. Thank goodness that they're still able to support our food pantries because people are still in need, you know. And it's nice to know that these projects are still going on. But the scouts always have something going on, and they're so innovative. That, you know, whether they're working on a trail, whether they're like a little video project about how to drive your car and pick up your kid at the school, you know?
Yep.
Everything. It's fantastic. I love these scouts.
Yep, absolutely.
So, I'm sorry, is it my turn?
It is your turn, Mike.
Well, let me tell you something. It was nice to know that school was back in session and they were allowing sports. And we've been able to cover sports happening on the weekends. We're able to go do some soccer games, some field hockey. It was nice to get out there and be there for live broadcast streaming, because as you can see, if you look at the top of the frame, they can only have a couple parents from home. The away parents can't come, you know? So those are only home parents that can be there for the games. So it was nice to go out there and to cover these events. And not only did we cover these, the volunteers were able to come back out to help. We had announcers for every single game, and we got to cover some new sports such as cross country and golf.
Yeah,
we never covered before, so that was exciting. But it was nice to get out there. The volunteer announcers and the camera operators were very, very happy to start doing some work again. And of course, we did it all safe. We're all socially distant, and working with the schools on that. It was nice to get out and do sports. Oh,
very nice, very nice. It was, and then it was so rewarding that community was able to participate and see something live that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And for the volunteers to sign up, you know, they were so happy to be able to come back and run a camera again. Yeah.
And Jim, if I can do one more, because this was my favorite one that we just got to do.
Well, if it's your favorite one, Mike, we got to let you do it.
It's my favorite because we got to be creative. You, me, John Ritz, and the Hopkinton High School pep band.
Take it away.
This was just awesome. We were able to get out, and they were able to perform socially safe, distant, and we were able to capture those moments. So I just love sharing this.
And don't forget, too, that when Craig Hay was starting the school year, he didn't know what they were going to be able to do, because his curriculum is all about the kids performing and how are they going to be able to perform when we can't have crowds anymore. So we're working on some other projects, and this was one of them, too, where he told us the students were very excited that they were able to perform and know that their, you know, friends and family were going to be able to appreciate their performance.
Right. And our lucky viewers right now are going to get a glimpse that nobody has seen yet. This is the first. So here we go.
Are you sharing the screen?
Here. So now the reason why, oh, I gotta stop it here. So players, there it is. The reason why I chose that and started at that point, you see the kids singing? Did you see the smiles on their faces?
Yeah.
That was the reason. I mean, yes, they were able to take their mask off because they had to play an instrument, but the kids were singing and the smiles on their faces. This is their only performance that they're going to have this year. Normally, they'd be at the games, at football, Friday nights, all jammed up in the bleachers, all together, playing this great music that we're accustomed to. And they're lucky because other schools, they won't allow this. And Mr. Hay was able to pull this together. And the three of us got to go out and we got to produce a 3-camera shoot and be artistic and editing. And got a few final tweaks, but this will be out probably tomorrow. And for everyone to see all the songs that they performed.
That's great. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun being there. Now, I've lost track. Matt, do you have another clip or did you all set?
No, I do have one more.
All right, take it away.
So thank you. This one is another one of Matt's greatest blunders, but I picked it not because it's a time I consider embarrassing, but I consider it much more of a learning experience. And it was from oh geez, what was it? It was a May show. I swear I thought this was over the summer, but it was when I had the high school drama teacher Valerie von Rosenving on the show. And I will get right into it as soon as it loads. There it goes.
Together at the same time. And so I will always kind of, as much as I value the relationships I've had with all of my drama students, and they've all been very unique, and the experiences have been, individually exceptional in terms of mounting each show. I'll never forget that. I'll just never forget going to Scotland. And you were one of the Wackadoo 9, weren't you?
Yes, I was. That whole thing.
Okay. Explain to the audience what the Wackadoo 9 did and put me over.
All right, so this is.
First of all, if we can just look at my facial hair in that picture, because it clearly had been very long since I had shaved. But no, the reason I wanted to pull this gem up was because me and Valerie obviously have a long history. I did theater with her throughout high school a long time ago at this point. And I was one of the kids who went to Scotland back in 2011. And that episode kind of evolved into less of an interview and more of me and her just chit-chatting. And you had to break up that conversation because we were supposed to be talking about her book, and Jim, you got us back on track. And that's when I kind of learned much more about interview etiquette. Because I've been working at this job for almost 4 years now. That's pretty incredible. But other than just doing theater as a hobby, I'd never had any television experience or anything like that. I was a biology major, as I've said many, many times. Sometimes I'm amazed that I got this job at all, but just the right place at the right time situation. So it's just one of those skills that I've just had to pick up on the fly.
Yeah. Though I do find it kind of annoying when you say something like, "Oh yeah, it was such a long time ago." It was, it's like, Matt, it wasn't that long ago.
Oh my God, I can't wait till he's our age, Jim.
I know. I know.
If it
Me
helps,
too.
as
I
soon as I
can't
said
wait
it,
till
I
I'm
knew
your age either.
Yeah. If it helps, as soon as I said it, I knew I made a mistake. So.
Okay. All right. That was good. I like that clip. Valerie von Rosenving, she's an awesome lady.
She's incredible.
I've said the story to you guys, I know, but I just love the story. We do, for our new show, HHS Today, we do question of the day. And one day, the question of the day is, what is your most valuable possession? So we went around the school and the kids were asking that question, and they asked Valerie that. And she paused and she said, well, do we really actually own anything other than ourselves? And if you know Valerie, that's a very Valerie answer.
Yeah,
she's such a great woman.
Oh, fantastic. great resource for our schools.
Yeah.
And it's not just drama. She does so much more.
Yep. Exactly.
All right.
All right. Did everybody get all their clips out? I think
I got more.
you got more.
You want
Okay, Mike.
Here's one here that I love because this here is one of our amazing producers who used to do a long show, is now did a weekly show. Oh, there you go.
2 pounds of ground beef, 1 teaspoon of chopped garlic, 2 eggs beaten, and 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Now, I also have black olives for the eyes, but I'm going to put that aside with the meatloaf because first what we're going to do is we're going to start with the meatloaf. And I have 2...
So, and she did start with the meatloaf. So, Bob is great. Bob is always helping me on this show here. Where Terry Malisi, her gathering show is usually about making dinners for parties, having guests, and we're talking about many, many courses, dozens of appetizers and main dishes and desserts. She adapted her whole show into a 1-hour show of making a quick meal for your family. Your appetizer, your entrees, and your desserts. And she was coming on every week. Now we do it every other week. And every time is a theme. And she still comes up with new themes, cooking away, and making us really, really hungry every time. Because normally I like to be there helping her because I get to eat. So.
Right. All right. Hey, if I click out of here, it's because my battery's flashing at me. So bring the show in if I do. By the way, so Mike, in addition to being a TV star and a gourmand, and she's also an author, I have a question for you. How come you've never had her on the Hangout Hour?
Well, that's because I wanted to leave that to you to interview because you interview so much better than I do.
Pretty smooth, Mike. Pretty smooth. And guess what? She's scheduled.
Yes, I knew that. I saw the schedule.
All right. We've got some great shows coming up in the next few months. Next few weeks of this month. In addition to Terry, we're going to have Eric Hardy coming on, talking about what to do about water and the change in temperatures and going into the fall and what his department is doing. We're going to have an episode catching up with Laurel Kuba from the Sanctuary in Hopkinton. Our town manager, Norman Kamala, will be on for a live Ask the Manager segment. Our police chief, Chief Bennett, will be on for a Ask the Chief session. We're also going to have 2 members, representatives from the HPTO, formerly known as the HPTA. The HPTO will be on talking about what they do. There's some great stuff coming up in the next few weeks.
Excellent. Tim, I wondered if you had reached out to the new chair of the board of directors to come on and make himself known to the public.
Oh, well, actually, if you ask me tomorrow, the answer will be yes, that I will have. That's a great idea. Thank you. And by the way, anybody out there, as I said, if you have any thoughts on anybody who is doing something interesting, unique, supportive of community, we'd really love to extend an invitation for them to come on the Hangout Hour and chat about that. We're very, very friendly and casual here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got one more if you want it.
Mike, roll it.
I got to roll it. This here, again, not only did I help the veterans, but you know me as my other job being on the fire department, and I love the fire service. Memorial Sunday, second Sunday in June is Fireman Sunday, and I've been participating every year since 1998 when I joined the department. And they couldn't do it this year, so we put together a show for them. And why did that?
When you hear the roll call later on this morning, think of our dedication of the members on this list. Think of how many before you answered the calling to be a firefighter. Think of all the members of this list responded unselfishly to the call. Thank you.
Now, one of the big reasons why this was a proud
At this
moment
time
for
here, I'd
me was a proud moment for me. Normally, I'm participating. I don't hold a camera. I'm usually with all my brothers and sisters for the memorial service. And this year here, where it was being done virtually, I thought directing a program would be so much better. And I was able to direct the action, and the show came out fantastic. And it was, yeah, it meant a lot to me. So this here was my other big one for COVID 2020. Thank you. Oh, Jim, you have to change mics?
Yeah.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
My battery died in my camera, so I had to switch over to my webcam.
It still looks good.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
That's bad.
Okay, so I think that we're going to wrap up this episode. I think that we've had some awesome clips, and it was great going down memory lane for these past few months. So thank you all for finding the clips and sharing your memories and sharing what has been important to you.
Yeah, and what's nice to know too is this format here, even if we ever get back to normal, we hope to have this kind of format continue. And there is so much more that's going on in this community that we expect to have everybody out there and highlight them, because, you know, this community is fantastic, and that's what we live for, is to tell people what everybody's doing out there.
Yep, I say it all the time. Hopkinton is a great place because of the people that live and work here. And
Jim, I think we have a minute now that you might want to mention what's coming up next week on HCAM, or maybe Matt has an update.
I was going to say, I think Matt's the man for that, although we're kind of putting him on the spot for that. Matt, are you able to give us a couple of highlights?
Yeah, I can give a few.
All right.
Coming up tomorrow, we obviously have HCAM News live at 6:30 on HCAM TV, followed immediately, of course, by The Gathering this week. And then on Friday, there will not be an episode of Keep Moving this week, but we will have the Sunday service as always. And then on Monday, I will be hosting the Hangout Hour at 2 p.m.
And there will be a meeting of the Zoning Advisory Committee on Monday night. There'll be a select board meeting on Tuesday night, a Concom meeting on Tuesday night, and it goes on. School committee on Thursday.
And also this weekend here, Saturday and Sunday, we'll be broadcasting sports live from the high school turf fields all day on Saturday and Sunday.
That's great. Hey, how many more weekends of fall season 1 are there, Mike?
There, this weekend and next weekend is the last weekend, the 14th.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you stay tuned for more. Gentlemen, thanks for being here, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.